NFL Week 9 spreads and totals picks. Ole do it. Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me, excited to be breaking down another week in the NFL. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to everyone who continues to come by and support me, continues to subscribe to the channel. All those little things help me grow this channel as I continue my journey in creating sports content. And again, guys, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. Are you kidding me? I'm living the dream. So any help that you're able to give me with likes, with comments, with sharing, I appreciate it very much. Let's look at last week. So taking a look at last week, my high confidence spread picks went 2-2 with a push. My medium confidence or average confidence went 1-3, and my low confidence went 2-4. So not a great week on the spread side of things, but my goodness, this total side, we got all three of our high confidence picks correct. We went 4-1 on our medium or average confidence picks, and about 50% on our low confidence picks. So okay on the spread, but fantastic on the total. As for our year-to-date overall numbers, we are still positive 5-3 on green spread picks, 3-5 and 3-7 on yellow and red, and 1-1 on our extramost bestest for an actual losing total of 12-16. So we'll try to fix that. But our totals picks are doing fantastic: 4-1 on green, 5-4 on yellow, 7-8 on red, 2-0 in our extramost bestest picks, 18-13 overall. Week 9 is truly not that exciting. I have a lot of red on here, so this may be a quicker video. Tonight's Thursday matchup does not get my mouth watering in the slightest. Tennessee visits Pittsburgh, and Tennessee is starting Will Levis, we think, although Mike Vrabel came out in an interview and said, I never said he was the starter, even though it was tweeted out that he was a starter, so I don't know what's going on. I think the best way Tennessee stands a chance to win this game is to take it out of Will Levis's hands. I know he balled out against Atlanta, but I don't think this Pittsburgh team at Heinz Field in a night game is the same matchup against Atlanta at home in Tennessee last week. So this is the start of a 3-game road stretch for Tennessee. It's going to be a brutal run, and I don't like them tonight. I actually like Pittsburgh -2.5 and an ugly total under 36.5. These are low confidence picks. I wouldn't touch either of these, but this is what I would pick. Now, Pittsburgh held Jacksonville to only 20 points, and I think Jacksonville is a much more talented team than Tennessee, so I'm a little bit worried about Tennessee's offensive production in this one. The one glaring weakness of the Steelers is that they are allowing 137 rushing yards a game. So I just think if Tennessee stands a chance, they have got to get Derrick Henry going, and Derrick Henry going early. That's why I favor the under. I think it's going to be just an ugly, slow game, but ultimately I would go Steelers -2.5 and the under. The game the whole world will be watching, this is a Germany game. This is a 9:30 Eastern kickoff. I know we've had a few early mornings this year in the NFL, haven't for a few weeks, so I'm excited actually to get those back. So this is not a Chiefs home game, but hey, you see it already. Second game breakdown, we have the Green Means Go extra most bestest pick, and that is the under 50.5. I also like the Chiefs in a high confidence bet -1.5. So here it is. Ready? This is a Hill revenge game. Okay, Tyreek Hill playing against his old team. However, I think his old team will be ready not only to defend him, but get the Denver loss bad taste out of their mouth. I think Miami's defense, I've said it every video, their defense is too weak. And Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes will come out stronger than they did last week. Last week was brutal weather. It will not be brutal weather this week. They will be fine, and they will respond against this poor defense in Miami. I just think that the Chiefs are set up to defend Miami's weapons more so than any team they've seen as of late. So I think this will be a low-scoring game, and I think the Chiefs will come in. They will play good defense. They will execute on offense. And, it being in Germany, I think, helps the under as well. So I love both of these picks. I think Chiefs -1.5 and the under are the sides in this one. The game in Atlanta is not one I'm excited about. We know Kirk Cousins went down with an injury. In the last 5 games, however, Minnesota's defense has only allowed over 17 points one time, so their defense is tightening up, and they're looking pretty strong. Atlanta, I don't know what to do with this team. They are benching Desmond Ridder, which I think is a move they needed to make weeks ago. Taylor Heineke is starting, so I can see him trying to come out and prove that he is the guy for Atlanta, not only for the next few weeks, but for the rest of the season, maybe into multiple seasons, which kind of hurts Ridder, a guy they drafted pretty high. So I guess I favor the Falcons minus 4.5 in this one just because I don't know what Minnesota is going to do. Obviously, they bring in Josh Dobbs, but I don't think he starts. So I think Taylor Heineke is a guy who's going to come in and try to put up points. So I lean over 37 and minus 4.5 for the Falcons, but I hate both of these. The game in Baltimore should be a good one, a battle of the birds. And here is the ultimate thing I'm going to tell you right now before I don't spill this coffee. I've knocked it 6 times. If this is 5.5, which it is at some shops, I lean Baltimore. If it's at that key number of 6, I lean Seattle. That's how close I think this will be, and that's how important I think these key numbers are. So 5.5, Baltimore, 6, Seattle. I don't know where this is going to go. It may tick up to 6.5. I'm not sure. My biggest fear is that this is an East Coast game at 1 o'clock, and Seattle historically is bad in that time zone on the East Coast. So I think their one way to stay in this game and to ultimately win this game is to find success running the ball with Walker and Charbonnet early. I think it's the only way that they can come in and compete, and I think that's what they will try to do. Outside of Detroit, Baltimore does not have a ton of convincing wins. I do think their home field advantage in this one is massive, and Seattle cannot defend the pass. So, they may be able to stop Lamar and company on the ground, but I think Lamar is, even though he doesn't have the most shiny weapons at receiver and tight end, although his tight end is pretty darn good, I think they'll be able to get it going in the pass. So I think Seattle needs to slow this game down. They need to control the ball, and that's the way they can win. But their defense is so bad, I can see the Ravens putting up 24 to 30 points. And I think Seattle keeps pace. So give me +6 for Seattle in the over 43 in low confidence bets. Another ugly game with a lot of questions. Kyler Murray is supposed to be starting, ? We still don't know, but I don't think this matchup in Cleveland against this Brown defense is a great spot. However, at +7.5, the Browns have too many questions for me to fully believe that they can cover a 7.5 number. Watson should be back, but I don't know if that's a good thing. PJ Walker has looked solid, and Watson has looked pretty bad in a lot of his starts. I think the opportunity for Ford and Hunt to have a big game on the ground for the Browns is there. I think that's their path to victory, honestly. The Cardinals are one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. But ultimately, too many questions for both of these teams. But +7.5, I think, is a pretty decent line for this Arizona team that stayed in games and had a lot of backdoor covers. And I do like the under 37.5 in this one. Another game with a lot of questions. The Rams visit Green Bay. Stafford is injured. I think he'll play. Actually, I don't know if he'll play. They're not going to put him on IR. I don't know. Ultimately, too many questions, but Green Bay is the most unimpressive team to me in the NFL as far as what they were expected to do versus what they are doing. So in 2 low confidence picks, I would take the Rams +3 and I would take the over, but I hate this game. I hate everything about it. With the 5th unexciting game in a row, we have the Commanders visiting the Patriots, and the Commanders' defense is atrocious. 28 points per game allowed this year, and they, as an offense, do not run the ball, which maybe they need to start taking some clock off so teams can't put up 30 on them week after week after week. The Patriots are due. That's all I'll say. Mac Jones in this game has a chance to look like a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I really hope Bill Belichick draws some things up to open up this offense. They do lose Kendrick Bourne to an ACL injury, so hopefully Demario Douglas steps up. Somebody steps up for this offense. They have had a brutal schedule thus far, and Washington becomes the easiest team they will face probably this year, and so I just think at home it's a great spot for them to cover that -3, and I think they could put up 30 points, so give me the over 40.5. Another weird game with quarterback questions. Ultimately, I like Bears +8.5. It bit us last week. We'll go back to it, and I do like the under 41, and here is why. I think this backup quarterback, Tyson Bagent, can play ball, but their defense sadly cannot. If DJ Moore can find space, I feel much better about that 8.5 number. The Saints have a solid defense. They held, I know Gardner Minshew is not necessarily the quarterback you want to compare to, but they held Gardner Minshew in check last week, and Pittman and Pierce and Downs. They kept it the Bears did not keep it close against LA, but they had a lot of close calls and things just did not go their way. They couldn't convert on opportunities, so they did not cover, but they didn't look awful. I think their one path to victory is to run the ball. What did the Colts do last week? They started the game, they gave the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and he had 7 rushes for 70 yards in the first half, maybe even the first quarter, and then they just walked away from it. They said, oh, the game script didn't lead us to believe we could do that in the second half. But what? What do you mean? Okay? Ridiculous play calling, ridiculous coaching, horrible coaching, if you ask me. So I think that the Bears' path to victory is to get their backs going. As for the Saints, their defense seems to be falling off. They started pretty well this year. However, this will be the easiest week they'll have in a while. They are 1-2 at home, which is a bit bizarre, so I don't know if there's much of an advantage there. However, this AFC South is firmly within grasp, and they are at the top or tied at the top with Atlanta. So I think this is a must-win spot, a get-right spot. So I do think the Saints win this game, but I have a feeling the Bears can sneak in and cover that 8.5. Ultimately, I think the under 41 is the play. Weird spot here. Tampa visits Houston, 2 teams that have looked good at times, but have lately fallen off. I like Tampa plus 2.5, though, because this, again, kind of like the Patriots, the Buccaneers have had a brutal schedule. They've had a disappointing start, but this is Baker's time to bake, Baker's time to cook. And they don't run anyway, so why not pass on this horrible Texans pass defense? The South is still somehow within reach for this team. They're only 2 games back, I want to say, so they could make a run. So I do like the over in this one. I think Tampa will be able to put up 24 to 28 points on this Texans team. This Texans team, like I said, struggled against the pass. This is their 4th NFC South opponent in a row. They've played all the NFC South in a row, and they are only 1-2 against them. The NFC South is the worst division in the National Football League, in my opinion, and this team only went 1-2 against them and has a chance to blow another game, 1-3. So I think Tampa Bay has been tested more so than Houston has. Tampa Bay has faced better quarterbacks than even Houston has. So I just think Tampa Bay comes into this game ready to potentially make a run for that divisional title spot. Give me Tampa Bay plus 2.5 and over 40. Golly, the Colts, another disappointment. The last 5 minutes of this video has just been me talking about disappointing teams. They've allowed 38 points in 3 straight games. To New Orleans, Cleveland, and Jacksonville. Like, let's take a second. Let me just grab them. The Colts have allowed 38 points in 3 straight games to New Orleans, Cleveland, and Jacksonville. Okay. I have no trust in this staff, this coaching team. Like I said, Jonathan Taylor had a fantastic start last week, and then they just didn't give him the ball because the game script didn't. Shut up. Pittman's crying about his touches, so Gardner Minshew comes out and throws the ball to him 8 times in a row just to make him. It's Raiders 2.0 right now. The Colts are. The Panthers going to win last week, and I think they'll ride that momentum this week. This is a chance for Bryce Young to look more like Steve Young, to look more like Vince Young, Texas-era Vince Young, okay? The only thing that's making me scared is, do teams play for draft picks? Like, is this a game that they say, we're not going to make the playoffs, so do we just kind of throw this one to the Colts to get a better draft pick? I don't know. If they decide that they want to play the game, I think plus 3 is a great price for the Panthers, and I will not take a Colts under until they show me they can stop anybody. Oh, what do you know? Another ugly, horrendous, awful game. The Giants visit the Raiders, who just fired their coach and offensive coordinator by way of a fortune cookie. If that's real, that is unbelievable. It was reported by The Athletic. I don't know if I trust it, okay? And then gives him a fortune cookie that says you're fired, hotshot in it. Like, I don't know if that's legit, but if it is, my goodness. Giants plus 1 in the under. Daniel Jones should be back. No Waller. They've played low-scoring games the past few weeks. They've competed the past few weeks. I don't know what to do with the Raiders team. Aiden O'Connell is starting. Adams is dramatic. Josh Jacobs is irrelevant in this offense. Ugly game. Skip. Now we're talking. Now we're getting into something that I will actually have on my television. And I will lean Philadelphia minus 3 in the under 47 here. ultimately because I'm not convinced Dallas can play on the road. Their biggest wins, their best wins, their most convincing wins have been in Dallas. And anytime they go on the road, they play tight games, they play close games, or they get blown out. So Dak under pressure, it's another Dak under pressure spot. And we know that historically it's not been great for him. And I think Philadelphia walks into this game after a bit of a scare at Washington last week to control the game, run the ball, control the tempo. And I think by doing that, they ease a lot of minds, and they ultimately win this game. I think they just are a team that keeps finding a way to win. They keep putting themselves in position to win. So I like them in this spot, and I think it's a low-scoring NFC East classic battle with the Eagles coming out on top. Here it is. You see it. The green means go, stamp of approval, the extra most bestest spread pick of the week. And this one does have me nervous. I am not going to sit here and say I'm so confident. I'm not shaking in my boots a little bit because I'm shaking in my boots a little bit. The Bills +2 on the road at Cincinnati. Now, let me explain. Cincinnati, I will say, is looking good. They are one of the hotter teams as of late in the NFL. However, let's look at who they've played. They've played Arizona, okay. They played Seattle at home, and Seattle gave them a run for their money. Again, an Eastern time zone, 1 p.m. kickoff. We know Seattle struggles there, and Seattle was a play away from winning that game. And they go to San Francisco and win, which I do think is a good win, but they caught San Francisco at a perfect time. So I believe the Bengals are a bit overpriced in the market right now. They have a bottom half defense against the pass. The Bills don't run the ball. All right, James Cook could sit on the sidelines and the games would look the same. Damian Harris is hurt. Okay, Latavius Murray is there. He gets some carries, but ultimately this is Josh Allen's team. And I think Josh Allen, in a game of this magnitude, on a half bye week, okay, remember they played Thursday, so they have extra rest. The Bengals have been traveling. Yes, they do get to come home, but they were in Santa Clara all week. I think the Bills are underpriced in this market. So you're taking an underpriced team versus an overpriced team, and you're giving me 2 points with the underpriced team. To me, that's value. This pick could lose, but I don't think the side of Bengals -2 is the side with value, so I'm not going to touch it. This team in the Bills is a top 10 pass defense team, and I think they will hold Joe Burrow and company in check. I think it'll be an ugly game in terms of points. I think it'll be a 24-21 type of game, maybe less. So I really like the under green pick, high confidence pick, and I like the Bills +2 green pick, high confidence pick, extra most bestest pick. And finally, for Monday night, we have the Chargers visiting the Jets, who have been unbelievable at home almost. We've seen what they can do at home, beating Philadelphia. Only loss from Philadelphia this year, and was a holding call potentially away from beating Kansas City. So I trust the Jets have proven to me that they can play at home. And here's my question. Can they score 24 points? If the Jets have 24 points, clip this, mark this, highlight this, screenshot this, do whatever you have to do. If the Jets have 24 points on the scoreboard at any time, they will not lose this game. All right? Period. So I like them +3.5, and I like the under 40.5. Let's look at the Chargers here, because they another team I think is a bit overpriced, traveling across the country, another night game. Yeah, their wins, they have 3 of them. They're against the Bears, the Raiders, and the Vikings. Are we impressed? I'm not impressed. That doesn't get me out of bed. Okay? Bears, Raiders, Vikings. I think this team will fold against a solid defense, and I think that's exactly what the Jets have. So give me Jets home field under the lights against a solid defense versus an overrated, overranked Chargers team. Jets +3 under 40 all day, every day, and twice on Monday night. That's all I got for you today. Again, hopefully soon I'll have my NCAA picks video out. If you're interested in that, be on the lookout. Guys, I'm just thankful that you're here. You're coming by. You're watching these videos. You have a busy life. There are tons of people competing for your time and energy online, and you'll choose to spend it with me? Golly, I'm humbled. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.